Seen the pictures, so more than 100 extra officers on the streets this evening, racking up overtime to deal with the protests.
Costs a lot of money. Now, the Occupy movement, remember that last year, already costs about $2 million in extra resources and time, and just add on the cost from today. KOIN Local 6 reporter Ken Boddie spoke with Portland Police Chief Mike Reese about that today. And Ken, he knows that this is putting a strain on the budget.
Yes, he certainly does, and as a matter of fact, they haven't come up with the money, the city hasn't, to pay for what the Occupy movement has done up to this point. Now, Chief Reese says he knows this is expensive, but his job as police chief is to maintain public safety. From motorcycle cops to all kinds of police and riot gear, making sure the protests stay under control is his priority, he says. Today's May Day protests present even more of a challenge since there are multiple demonstrations throughout the city. Now, the city still hasn't paid for the overtime and extra resources needed up until the police evicted the occupiers from Chapman and Lonsdale squares last fall. Now, it could put a strain not only on this year's budget, but next year's as well.
It's really I think important that we try and manage it as financially responsible as possible, but it does take a lot of resources, and we're a very lean police department.
Chief Reese says he is concerned that the election year could bring candidates and more calls for police overtime, but he says his officers have to do what they're paid to do, and that cost is part of it. Now, the chief says it may be a few weeks even before they add up the expense of today's action. Reporting for you live in downtown Portland, Ken Boddie, KOIN Local 6.
Thank you, Ken. So here's the bottom line on the May Day marches and rallies today. Portland police say at least 12 people have been arrested so far. Those arrests came during the unpermitted march that started down at Waterfront Park and then moved into downtown. That was earlier today. The demonstrators are now facing charges related to interfering with a police officer and also disorderly conduct. But there's also been vandalism at least 2 locations associated with May Day. Earlier this morning, again, someone hit Wells Fargo on Southeast Hawthorne and also the U.S. Bank on Southwest 6th Avenue and broke the glass on the doors there. We are continuing to follow the peaceful demonstrators marching right now through downtown Portland, and we'll bring you any updates as we get them in.